We kick things off on this week's NXT with OTM versus LWO, because who doesn't like abbreviations? When it comes to LWO, I have no idea whether they're on main roster or not. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to the Ultimate Wrestling Review Show with me, Simon Miller. I know what it means to be the Ultimate Wrestling Review Show, but damn it, I just coined that phrase, and no one's gonna stop me. See, ready to fight? I would so get my ass knocked out. Let's up those downs. But yes, these two teams were gonna fight it out to try and get into a triple threat match, and then whoever wins that triple threat match will become the #1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team titles. Nice and simple, didn't confuse me at all. OTM also attacked the LWO during their entrance, and because Bronco and Price are so much bigger for a good old while, they were just wailing on these guys until the Latino World Order went, oh wait, we can do flippy dippy doodah stuff, and they push go. For all that though, Nima did do a superplex on Wild, although I think they should now just be called like a normal plex, because we see them all the time. Like if Superman keeps coming around for dinner, eventually I'm just going to call him Clark. Scripps was also interfering on the outside because they are a bunch of goobers, when yes, we saw that Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin were watching this, which makes sense, they are the champions, they were doing some scouting. All of this, of course, was building to the big old Hot Tag 4 crews who went nuts with missile drop kicks. But I tell you, OTM were not into that, and they absolutely wrecked him with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. I'm just going to say it now, on this day, March the 13th, somebody should make that their finisher. Del Toro then started the wrestling tennis because he just booted Price. When Joaquin Wilde decided, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to jump off somebody's back and just dive into everyone. This guy is absolutely crazy, but amazing. Del Toro then did this Frankensteiner, which was also cool, when they did what I can only describe as an assisted springboard 450. Now, thankfully, that was the 1, 2, 3. How the flub are you gonna top that? So I thought this was really fun, and now, of course, the LWO are going through to the next round. But there's no way they can win these belts, because Bron Breakker is one half of the champions, and he's already on the main roster, and these dudes are also on the main roster, so that is just gonna become 2 + 2 = potato. In terms of my enjoyment, up. Oba Femi was then in the NXT parking lot when Brooks Jensen decided to get in his face. I was like, dude, you in the NXT parking lot, the most threatening place in all of professional wrestling, and you want to go after Oba Femi? You nuts. Surprise, surprise, we then got a brawl until Josh Briggs arrived to calm things down. I was like, what are you doing, Joshy? You told this guy that the group you were in had to go on their separate paths, and now you just stalking him and following him around? I think you a bit weird. Thea Hale was then trying to make up with Chase U, because of course it had all gone bad last week. And they were like, listen, what is the deal with JC Jane? I was like, that's an amazing question, because as we spoke about 7 days ago, their feud has been plunged into fast forward. Don't forget as well, this was because of calendars, and we should never mess with those things. And when Chase U did push her, saying, well, who is going to be your tag partner for later? She had found someone, and it was Kalani Jordan. I was like, this is so going to go bad, and I was right. When Roxanne Perez did the thing. Oh no. Now I do want to point out that I really like Roxanne, and her delivery here was really good. And when she does get called up to the main roster, she is going to be totally fine. She's got some real skills and some talent. She'll gonna fly. But when she was given a microphone here to explain why she had gone heel, she went into Wrestling Promo 7.2 and went, I did it because of all you fans. That's right, it's us again. What do? Cheer and support her, boo. We absolutely suck. She also talks about the pressure on her shoulders because she does have to carry the women's division, and she took a shot at Becky Lynch when she was like, I took out Lyra Valkyria, so according to Wrestling Maths, which I just came up with, given that I took out the champion, I should now be the champion. I think that's how it works. Ava Raine agreed because she walked to the ring and she was like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna see how Lyra gets on. When Tatum Paxley was here, because of course she's obsessed with Lyra, she tried to whip Roxanne's ass. Now amazingly, security actually did their job and they kept them apart, because usually wrestling security sucks. So now of course next week we shall do Paxley versus Perez, when Lyra Valkyria probably returns, gets into it with Roxy, and we build that match at Stand and Deliver. My favourite part is that Ava was just screaming at these two. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. But look, here's the deal. We've just seen this promo way too many times. And while I understand NXT is basically a big trial and error thing, and I love the fact that we are allowing Roxanne Perez to be a heel, because it's just going to add more strings to her bow, I am going to give it a down. I never want to hear another wrestler ever go, oh, I went bad because of you. You could come up with anything else. It's wrestling. It's a creative endeavor. She could have gone, well, an elephant told me that I had to go to the dark side, and as ridiculous as that would have been, I'd have been like, well, one, that does tie into like the NXT brand, and two, I've never heard that one before, so I would have liked it. He didn't do that. Down. When we got the best damn moment of the show. So we saw the D'Angelo family having dinner and patting themselves on the back, when Ilja Dragunov walked in. And Tony D didn't like this at all. Now, Ilja really should have watched a movie or something about the mafia before he did do this, because after D'Angelo had talked to him at Riddles, all of a sudden, a bunch of goons appeared behind Dragunov and they kidnapped him. That's right. He got totally kidnapped and nobody cared, even though this was being filmed. So bring it down. There is the crime counter. And out of everything we have done this year, this is the biggest crime. I mean, you're literally not allowed to kidnap people. No one rang the cops either, because again, why would you do that? But look, I love stuff like this. It makes me so damn happy. You wait till we get to part 2 of this. Escalation up to 2-9. Which is when we did get our big Robert Stone versus Lexis King match. Can't tell a lie. Actually, I've been quite looking forward to it. Von Wagner was not allowed at ringside either, because Robert had said I have to do this by myself. And fair play to Mr. Stone, at the start of this, he went absolutely nuts, was going like 100 miles an hour. Certainly at one point he went for a crossbody and totally missed, which is when King beat him up. But then he went for another crossbody and he got a 1-2 ooh. There's a lovely lesson for you. Never give in. The finish was really weird though, because I assumed that Stone just ran out of HP. Because essentially, Lexis cut him off, he hit that net breaker thingamajig that he does, and he just pinned him. I was like, oh, well, sorry, Rob. Sucks to be you. Of course, Lexis was going to continue to beat him up afterwards when Von Wagner came to the ring, so I suppose we are going to do that match at Stand or Deliver. I just hope we don't turn Von heel, which there has been a little bit of teasing. I like the fact they are friends. Let's be honest, Von Wagner is just better as a babyface. So this was alright, and it was nice that Robert Stone got a few minutes to get his stuff in. So yeah, there was nothing offensive about it. Maybe I expected a little more, but maybe that's on my shoulders. Give it a nap. Oba Femi was then doing another interview, and he should probably just stop doing these, because he got interrupted again, this time by Dijak. Dijak was essentially like, I really like that belt around your shoulder, so seriously, that absolutely should be the Stand and Deliver match. Oba Femi versus Dijak. In many ways, it could be the best match of the weekend. Both those guys are nuts. And then we got something totally random, because we saw Ridge Holland in a gym, and he was working out, when he stopped working out to talk to his wife and kid, and he was like, oh, I love you so much, when he basically blew them off so he could go back to lifting weights. What? Actually, this was going to play into something later, but at the time I was totally confused. When Oba Femi was here, man, do I love this guy. He was taking on Brooks Jensen as well, so these two guys just slugged it out. And Brooks has now gone through like a presentation update, because he is trying to find his new pathway. I thought all of this worked very well. The problem is Femi is just too big, so we kind of used Jensen as a whipping boy. But then yes, who came to ringside? Josh Briggs. And I was shouting at him, hey man, you told this dude that you were broken up and you will not stop hanging around with him. You gotta go away. The idea though, of course, is that Oba totally did wreck Brooks, and when he did hit one powerbomb, he didn't pin him, and he looked at Briggs. When he hit another one, and he got the 1-2-3, and that's right, he was still looking in Josh's direction. So we were just using Brooks Jensen as a setup guy here, but I actually think this will tie in down the line, and maybe we'll get another match between Josh and Jensen. But honestly, him and Femi did just smack each other here. I suppose in many ways it was big men slapping man meat, but it was just a good, hard-hitting match. Even though, yeah, Brooks did get his ass whipped. But hey man, shit happens. Up. When I was laughing again, because NXT is great. Because somebody was still filming this kidnapping, that's right. And the D'Angelo family had taken Ilja Dragunov to a bridge where Tony D essentially said, hey man, do you like this spot? It's basically where I kill people. Now, he didn't say it that matter-of-factly, but that's what he was getting at. I was on the floor. What is happening? Now, of course, the idea was to intimidate Dragunov, but Ilja is so crazy, I don't think he cared. And I bet he would have just jumped off this thing just to have gone, flub you, Tony D. I'll do whatever I want. So this feud is crazy, but more importantly, but another one on the crown counter. Nobody is going to come close to the D'Angelo family in 2024, apart from maybe Dijak. He does a lot of illegal stuff too. But honestly, it's so entertaining and it's so silly, but it has so much personality. That's why I like it in my life. Give it in now. When we got the match that everybody is talking about. For it was Gigi Dolan taking on Ariana Grace with the wonderful stipulation that if Grace won, she got to give Gigi a makeover. Now they must have done something right, because I sat there the whole time going, yeah, I want to see this. Why do I want to see a makeover? I have no idea, but I do. I'm not even going to bother talking about the match because everyone just wants to chat about the finish because yes, when the referee's back was turned, Ariana just booted Gigi right in the groinal area, and this annoyed Donna so much that when the ref was looking, She returned fire. She booted Grace in the groinal area. The ref was like, well, you're not allowed to do that. It's a DQ. It really was the facial reactions by Ariana Grace that made this as well. She is definitely Santino's daughter. And so many people on the internet going, oh man, this is so stupid. You can't kick a woman in the groin. And you look at these accounts and they're all men. You don't know how it feels to be kicked in the groin if you're a woman, and I'm pretty sure if I took my boot and kicked anyone anywhere, it's gonna hurt, especially in a sensitive area. So stop being absolute goobers. I thought this ruled. I'm also just excited for the makeover, and this was fun. There it is, that forgotten word in professional wrestling, F-U-N, just sat there, and I laughed away, which I believe was the point. Cannot wait to see what happens next week. So Ruka was then chatting to Karen Petrovich, I suppose because she has been away a while, and she wants to reacquaint herself. This is when Lola Vice interrupted, and because they were in the women's locker room, which is another precarious place, they all fell out, and now we gotta do that match. Ruka actually tried to calm everybody down when Brindley Reese kind of sprinted into the room and said, oh man, I love your positive vibes, when she was quite literally manhandled out of there. I mean, she does have a lot of positive energy, but she too is totally crazy. I can't help but like it though, because it is so over the top. And that's right, we got into more shenanigans. Sheesh. Because it was meant to be Thea Hall teaming up with Kalani James when we found out that in the back, somebody had attacked Kalani. Pretty sure I can figure out who this was. So it looked like Thea was going to be left totally alone when actually no, her new best friend arrived, because Fallon Henley, very handily, was behind the curtain in her gear with her music ready to play. And she was like, well, I guess I'll quite literally tag in. Now they were facing Izzy Dame and Kiana James, but the real story here is JC Jane and Jasmine Niz, or Niz, however you pronounce it, who came to ringside. I don't know what's happened to JC, but once again, she sold those calendars, and now she's lost her damn mind. So at one point, everybody was on the outside, where she grabbed Fallon Henley and pulled her out the way like she was trying to help, but surprise, surprise, it meant the kick that was aimed at Fallon's head went right into Thea Hale. So once again, Jane had screwed her former best friend over. That just let James take advantage as soon as Hale was back in the ring, as she hit the bankrupt, or whatever I think it's called, and she got the 1, 2, 3. Man, this is just disappointing. I mean, Hale was totally in tears after this, and she got the microphone and was screaming at JC, what did I do to you? And Jane was all like, man, you're such a terrible person, and you're the worst version of yourself. Look at you disgust me. When Thea was like, no, you're wrong, I'm still that same old bitch. All of a sudden, she was super serious 9000. Now look, I do like this because these guys have good chemistry together, and of course they'll have a match at Stand and Deliver, which I'm totally cool with, and I liked all the tag team nonsense too, so it's getting it up. But now I've got to the point where I was like, man, we achieved all of this in about 3 weeks, and they've been buddies for a long time. So it does feel a little bit too fast forward to me, so that does get it down. It's not going to matter, I get over this very, very quickly. I just need to know why we pulled the trigger at such speed. It's a little bit weird. Nathan Frazier and Axiom then fell out with the No Quarter Catch crew, so we're going to do something with them, as the Good Brothers told Hank and Tack, hey, we're taking you on next week in that triple threat tournament thing. We're gonna win. Hank and Tack responded straight away to this, and they said they were gonna win, so somebody is lying. When Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin interrupted, and they wound Hank and Tack up so much, Hank and Tack started to get into it. When Corbin and Breakker was just like, what a bunch of losers. Seriously. Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin are so good, they should be in that six-pack challenge tag team thingamajig at WrestleMania. Should be featured everywhere. When Sean Spears beat Ridge Holland. I didn't see that coming. No, I actually thought this was really good, and the presentation of Sean Spears ever since his return to NXT has been excellent. And at one point, he just shouted at Ridge, you're letting your wife down. Now, I do admit, we'd only introduced her as a character about 5 minutes ago, but the way Holland reacted to this, it's the first time since he's been back in NXT, and I was like, oh man, now you feel like a fully fledged character. Because he went totally nuts here and grabbed Spears, threw him into Barry Barricade, threw him through Alan the announce table. When he got the chair that Shawn had brought to the ring, he was like, I don't care, ref, I'm gonna smash his head in. Now, of course, the official was like, Ridge, you can't do that. I'm not just gonna stand like an idiot and allow you. So he finally did agree because he's the good guy, which is when Shawn went for the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll up. And when that didn't work, he put Ridge in the C4 position. The ref had only moved the chair to the corner, so he sprinted over there. He did the C4 right into the steel, and he beat him. I was looking at this ref like, dude, you've done a bad job. There was just something about this that really worked though, and it does feel like a real feud. While it does sound like NXT has forgotten about this whole Ridge Holland, oh, I accidentally hurt people but I liked it, that is absolutely for the best, because that wasn't clicking at all. But when it comes to this program, well, you can probably do a crazy stipulation match now at the pay-per-view. I really like this. Giving it an up. When we ended with Trick Williams, I mean, honestly, this guy. All you really need to know is that he came out and cut this firepower on Carmelo Hayes, telling him that he feels totally betrayed and that he feels let down, especially because he saw Carmelo as family. This is because he had that guy's back for 2 years, which is what brothers do, and yet here was Hayes singing and going on about, oh, it's not fair, Trick's not on my level. That's not the case at all, because actually the reason that Carmelo Hayes did this is that he will never be on Williams' level, no matter how long he lives, and honestly, Trick said this with so much power. It's like, man, you're right, Trick. Somebody give him a belt. But he also said something like, I don't even care if you stand on a stool with your stupid afro, you still ain't gonna be me. At this point, I was like, man, you could say anything and I'd totally buy it. He then announced that he will take on Hayes at Stand and Deliver, and I cannot wait for that match. When of all the people, the Metaphor interrupted. What? For some reason, Noam Dar has decided that he wants to steal Trick's spotlight, but that was never going to happen, because honestly, Trick Williams actually went on to beat up the entire Metaphor, and because there had been a lot of shouting before this, including from Lash Legend, he grabbed her and he gave her a kiss. Now look, I didn't know at this point they were dating in real life. I'd missed that information, but now that I realise they are doing that, I thought this was a nice moment, especially because this is how we're now presenting Trick Williams. He beats up all the enemies and he gets the girl. He's like a real action hero. He is going to be such a star then, and it makes all the sense in the world to have a mini distraction with the Metaphor and Noam Dar next week when they have that match, because it's just going to give Trick more wins before he finally defeats Carmelo Hayes. Very excited about all of this. This dude has totally got it up. Which brought us to the end of NXT, and you can see that Stand and Deliver is only a couple of weeks away because we went to town on all of these stories, but as ever, it's just an over-the-top riot. Giving it an up. Now please do click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Monday Night Raw. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe, and comment below with your own thoughts about NXT. My name is, and was, and always will be Simon Miller, as I change it by deep poll. See you soon.